This is a Dude Studios production. And hey, I'm the dude. Welcome back to Hey Bartender Podcast. I am your bartender for the evening. I am the dude, so that's what you call me. Or you can call me Anthony, that's cool too. This episode is the big Saturday episode of Hey Bartender Podcast, and I got a great guest on here from you. I found her on TikTok. She goes by the Canadian Ginger Girl. Her name is Ashley Ann Hope. She is from Alberta, Canada. She's been a bartender in the past for 7 years. We had an amazing conversation. This girl is awesome. She is very funny. She's very cool. And this is one of the podcasts where I wish it was video, because you should have seen how animated she was on some of the questions that she was answering. It was hilarious. But, sit back, relax, and have a listen to this podcast. She is very cool. We talk about her own personal drink special. We talk about good times in the bar, bad times in the bar, what she's doing now, all sorts of stuff. You're going to love it. Also, later on in the show, we're going to have musical guest Divide the Day. So you want to stick around for that. But until then, Laura Hope in the Art Tones, would you please help me get started?
Hey bartender, pass me a drink. A reason that I'm here is I need time to think.
How's it going? I really appreciate you for taking time out to be on the show. I ran across your TikToks and you had some great bar stories, and I thought I got to get this girl on my show, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to be on here.
Of course. Honestly, I'm really just honored that you invited me. I've never been invited to a podcast before, so.
Well, that's kind of the point of this whole podcast, is to get other bartenders to come on and talk about the story, because there's a lot of people out there, sponsors in particular, which I've only had maybe two, but they don't understand that I don't sit here and talk about drinking, getting drunk, and stuff like that. It's all about bartending, the bartenders, what we deal with as, in the service industry. And the only people that seem to understand it are actual bartenders and servers. So
100%. Yeah, everybody else just thinks that it's like, I often find a lot of times people think that I'm embellishing my stories when most of the time I'm actually toning them down.
Yeah.
Because otherwise TikTok will probably take them down. Like, I have lots of stories that I can't tell on TikTok because they will 100% get shut down.
Yeah. I've sensed that you toned them down a couple times. Oops, there I went. That's the reason why I started this podcast a couple of years ago, so I could, bring other bartenders, servers, whatever, people in the service industry to sit and talk about various bartending stories. So anyway, so let's get officially started here. So, welcome to Hey Bartender Podcast. And so why don't you tell everybody your name and where you're from?
So my name is Ashley, and I am in Canada. I live in Alberta.
Alberta, you're the first Canadian on my show. This is so cool.
Represented.
Hell yeah.
I'm also one of the most sarcastic ones, so this is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, sarcasm in the service industry, that goes hand in hand. Come on.
I mean, maybe. My cup only says sarcasm is how I give hugs.
Oh, well, that's original. I like that. So, before we get really started here, I told you in the email when I was emailing back and forth with you, I like my guests to do a drink special. So is there a drink that you have invented, or just a drink that you particularly like to make?
Yeah, so actually I got all of the items that I need here because I'm going to have one.
Oh, yeah.
I call it fruit salad. So I usually just pick any kind of like berry, cut it up, put it into my little cup. I've got my flavored vodka, my favorite, raspberry vodka.
Ooh.
Because it's wonderful. So you take 1 ounce flavored vodka and then 1 ounce of peach schnapps.
I'm writing this down as you're telling it.
All good. After that, I like my sparkling wines as well. So this one is also a peach flavored.
Ooh.
About half of the cup, half space left over is going to be that. And then you top it with any kind of juice that you prefer. I like my orange juice. So we've got some raspberry, we've got strawberries, we've got oranges, hence fruit salad.
Now, this is something that you've made up yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Some of the bars that I used to work in, they had the option to bring in different types of flavored wine or sparkling wine and different fruits. And I just had so much fun doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever a client would be, our customer would be like, hey, like, what do you suggest? I'm like, let me just throw a bunch of shit together. Like, this sounds fun.
I think this is also the first time that, actually the closest time I've done an what do they call it? ASMR? You know, because you hear the bottle opening and then the cork popping. So that.
Yeah, well, you know, you told me that you wanted me to make my favorite, and this one is definitely my favorite.
Yeah. So, and since this is an audio podcast, people only get to hear it. So.
Well, that's okay, because now they know how to make it.
Definitely. So, how does it taste? I've seen you take 2 big swigs so far. So.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It definitely has that, like, it's a summer drink for sure, because it's very fruity, and that little bit of bubbles from the sparkling wine it gives it a little twist. But it's not overly sweet, which is really important for me. I hate things that are just like ridiculously sweet. I can't do like Smirnoff Ice. Ugh.
Smirnoff Ice, truthfully, makes my teeth hurt. But.
Right? It's terrible.
Okay, that's cool. That was the drink special, and as usual, I like to remind my listeners, if you decide to give the drink a try, email me or contact Ashley. We'll give you you'll give information later on in the show of how to contact you. Let us know what you think about it, and see what your customers think about it. Cool. So
yeah.
So you live in Alberta, Canada, so probably the liquor laws and various different things are a little bit different in Canada than they are here in the United States. But let's start off in the most logical spot in the beginning. When did you start off in the service industry?
Oh, I was 18. I literally had just turned 18. I think it was like 2 months prior to that. So in Canada, here's one big difference between the states is in Alberta specifically, our legal drinking age is 18. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I think a friend of mine who used to sneak from Port Angeles, Washington, across the border, he used to go to Vancouver, BC all the time just because you could drink at 18 when he was
19
or 19 when he was in college. And then he's just like, oh, the weekend, let's go across the border. And I think I have heard that.
A lot, especially with the southern part of Alberta. Well, prior to all the shutdowns and stuff. Yeah, it was constant. I had lots of people come from the States, and like I'm more middle of Alberta. So it wasn't consistently, except for in the summertime, I would get a lot of people from the States who would come in and they'd be like, oh man, I'm so excited right now. I get to have a strong beer. And I'm like, I mean, beer's gross, but good for you, bud.
Yeah, you can tell the teenagers, they're like ready to get drunk. What's the first thing that pops in your head? But beer. Okay. Yeah. Rookie night.
Exactly. Or like, I love to give them mat shots.
Mat shot?
They're like, oh, I want, you've never had a mat shot. Okay. So
know.
you know the bar mat?
Oh, that's mean. Yeah, I know a mat shot. Okay.
Absolutely. They come in, and a lot of the time, because they came across the border, they're like, what can you give me for free? Legally, I can't give you anything for free unless it's your birthday, and even then it's comped. And I'm not going to give away free alcohol. I don't give free alcohol. Like, that's not fair. So the only free stuff they get was the mat shot. I said, I will give you. And the funny thing is that most of them had, because they like had never been in a bar before, had no idea what a mat shot was. And I'm like, oh, buddy, let me show you.
I never served a mat shot myself, but I knew other bartenders that did, but they would go as far as to even charge the person for it. like charge them $5 or, $6 or something like that. And yeah,
So rude.
yeah, exactly. But the mat shot, yeah, when somebody first told me about it, when I was, my first days as a bartender, I decided to clean out the mat that I was using, and realizing that there's cola, water, creamer, and various liquors all in one thing. There's nothing good about that.
No. No, there's not. There's nothing tasty about it. But it will be the last time that they ask me for a free shot.
And it's best they learn that early. Yeah, I get that.
Exactly. Exactly. I believe in harsh lessons.
Yeah, those are mean. It's I think that's a step above cement mixers, giving people those.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I just immediately, my mouth started like the not good water. Like, oh. It's crazy that there are people that actually enjoy it, but as soon as somebody starts like bringing out the cement mixers or like the Irish car bombs, or I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have the police here tonight. That's what's happening?
Yeah.
Cool. Glad I know. Glad I can mentally prepare for this shit.
So, so you started bartending at 18 then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I started off as a shooter girl. So I was the girl walking around with all the tray of shots, being like, "Hey, shot for $5."
Oh, okay. Yeah.
$5. And then I did beer tub for a little while. The whole reason why I ended up becoming a bartender was there was a girl who came into the bar that I didn't like, and I was ready to throw hands. And I was like, I was a little 18-year-old, so I was like, boss man, I'm gonna mess this girl up. I either go home or we got to figure out how to deal with this. He's like, get behind the bar. You can't go anywhere if you're back there. That's fair. Logic.
And that's where it all began.
And that's where it all began.
All you had to do was pick a fight with one of your servers.
Yeah. And then I just loved it. Honestly, I had so much fun. There's always the bureaucracy, the stupidness, and the idiots that come in.
Of course.
The socializing and learning about new people, and it was a blast. I loved it.
Yeah, that's the reason why I started bartending is because I've always been socially awkward, and I thought being a bartender would be a great way to try to build up me being more social with people. Turns out it didn't work, and years later, all of a sudden, I'm doing a podcast where I'm trying to do the same thing. So, because up until a couple days ago, I never met you, you never met me. Well, actually, when it comes to meeting each other, up until a couple minutes ago, I've never met you, you never met me. But this is a new thing for me to be, just all of a sudden start talking to somebody I absolutely don't know. But bartending, it was an exercise in trying to figure out how to talk to people, because, well, the biggest example I can think of is I don't know sports. I don't know anything about it. You act like you agree.
Yep. Nope, nothing. I would probably mix up the terminology for like, okay, I know everyone's like, oh my God, you're Canadian, you must love hockey. I fucking hate hockey. I hate it. It's cold. I don't like being cold. Like, just because I live somewhere that's cold all the fucking time doesn't mean I enjoy sitting in a place that makes you be colder. It's stupid. I have a home for that. Like, I'll stay warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm sure that if I were to talk to any of my friends who are sports people and they're like, oh, goals and lines on the that's cool. I have no idea.
Yeah, just
talk to me about anything else and I'll know more.
Yeah, smile and nod until the conversation's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, a lot of people found out a little bit later because they would ask other bartenders who I was good friends with around town, what's with the bartender over there? Because he doesn't say much. And they're like, just talk about the Beatles and he won't shut up. And
that's right. You just got to find your niche.
What's your go-to conversation? What can anybody and everybody talk to you about?
Animals.
Really?
Animals. Fucking love them.
So
I've got 5. So
So you go as far as having like Animal Planet or something like that on the TVs when you're behind the bar?
Oh, I would love to if I was allowed to. The funny thing is that most of the places that I worked in were sports bars.
Yeah.
So they always had the sports on. No, I didn't. Music. I love music.
Of course.
Love
Yeah.
it. And like I have such an eclectic variety of music that I listen to because my mom was one of those people that like really instilled in me how important it was to like enjoy what you were listening to and to try everything except for country. I got that later. And then actually I've got a couple of friends of mine who are really into those 80s and before, like really older music, just they love it. And I love it. They started really getting Meatloaf. Fucking love Meatloaf. So many kids don't know who Meatloaf is. They're like, Meatloaf, I eat that for dinner.
Yeah.
Fuck off with that shit. Ugh, you have no idea.
Yeah. Well, if you've ever worked in a karaoke bar, they know Meatloaf because Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Love that song. That is one of my karaoke songs. I'm just saying.
Okay. Point being there.
I will do the whole thing myself. The whole 7-minute song, both sides, no problem.
Really? You do both?
The only part that I have struggle in is at the very, very end. So usually I have a friend who sings with me and they'll sing the boy part because I have a higher pitch voice and that's fine. So they sing it. But as I have the microphone out here, I'm still singing it. I don't stop. I usually lose my voice by the end of the song.
Now, so do you sing that on your nights off when you're going out with your friends and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I've actually been out of the bartending industry for a couple of years now. I now work with the homeless, but I bartended for a little over 7 years.
Same here.
It's such a huge part of my life, right?
Yeah.
But
I haven't been a bartender for quite a few years. I only bartended for about 7 years. And once again, that's how the podcast came around because I knew I wanted to start a podcast. But I was sitting there going, well, everybody talks about the Beatles. Everybody talks about Metallica. Everybody talks about Star Wars. You know, I was going through the big list of things I was interested in. And then all of a sudden one day I realized that at my job right now, I say a lot. Well, back when I was a bartender and then all of a sudden one day it was just like bartending stories, you know.
100%.
So, you know, it all of a sudden became, yeah. And it seems like that's what your TikTok account is a lot like, because you sit there and tell your bartending stories. Now that I know that you've actually moved on to other things, but you still love to talk about it.
I do. Yeah. And yeah, honestly, it's funny. I never anticipated anybody to like my bartending stories. I never thought anybody would even like look at my story or watch my videos. I was just like, oh, look at me being cool, making videos. I'm so awesome. And then all of a sudden I wake up one day and one of my bartender stories where I got punched in the face. That was funny. All of a sudden it had like 120,000 views and like 50,000 likes. And I'm like, what is happening with my life? People just like it when other people get punched in the face. I get that.
Okay.
I respect it.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
but it's just kind of snowballed.
Yeah. When it's not happening to you, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Or in hindsight too. I mean, honestly, when she punched me in the face, it was still funny. Like afterwards, she left and I was like, oh, okay. So that happened.
So, you haven't been a bartender for a long time, but I'm sure there's a moment that sticks, one of your great bartender moments. You might have already talked about it on your TikTok. I haven't gone through all of your videos, but like a great moment where just it was, you know, big smile on your face for like the next 2 days, or a really groovy customer. Can you share something like that with us?
Yeah, I can absolutely. So there's this, I did actually share it on my TikTok, but I love this story, so I'll 100% tell it again.
Well, thank you.
When I was working at the Gentlemen's Club, aka the Peelers here, that's what, I don't know what you guys call them, but we call them the Peelers. So I was working the one day and there's this guy, this older guy, probably in his 70s. And he didn't really talk to anybody. He never bought a dance. He always just sat at his table, had like a couple of beers, and then left. And all the girls thought he was creepy. And I'm like, no, dude, like, I understand social awkwardness. I want to be his friend. So the next time he came in, I traded tables and made sure that he was in my section. The girl was like, absolutely, I don't want that creepy old man, whatever. So I sit down and I'm like, hey, like, how's it going? Can I sit here? Can you talk to me? I want to be your pal. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, that would be Marley, Karma. Sorry, my dogs are starting to fight. He was like, absolutely, I would love that. And I was like, so what do you do for work? Oh, you're retired. That's fantastic. He was a general or a warehouse manager for many, many years. And then he was like, yeah, like about 6 months ago, my wife passed away. And then about a month after that, our dog passed away because they were bonded. And all my kids live on the other side of the country, and I don't really have any friends because they've all passed away too. So I came here trying to make friends because I feel like people are more honest here. And I was like, good sir, like you're literally telling me that a strip club, there's more honesty? And he's like, yeah, I know everybody just wants your money. Nobody's pretending that they want anything beyond that.
Yeah.
So if I go to a local pub, that's what they're going to do. It broke my fucking heart. Oh God. Okay. So clearly we're going to be friends now. And he came in every other day, I would say 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a week for a few months. He would always sit in my section. I would go and it wasn't even like he was a big tipper. He did not tip much. I didn't care. He was just such a cool dude. And, yeah, a couple of months after that, he came in and he was looking really sad. And I was like, bud, like, what's going on? Who pissed in your cornflakes? He's like, I'm kind of sad. My daughter came up from out east and she wants me to go and live with them. I'm like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like, you're going to go and connect with your family. This is amazing. You're not going to be alone anymore. He's like, yeah, but like, you're my only friend. And I just didn't want to leave without telling you goodbye. And
Oh,
my fucking heart. So I told him that we'd always be friends and that, I just hope he's doing great. I haven't talked to him since. We didn't exchange numbers. It was just one of those like beautiful little friendships that's like, I love you forever. And if I see you again, awesome. If not, live your best life.
Yeah. That's a shame. Well, that's a great story at the same time. I don't know how I feel about it.
I know it's very conflicting.
Yeah. But that's really cool. You're able to, grab onto somebody and then make them your friend. I've worked with a lot of bartenders in the past that were, people would be like, I don't know about that person. And all of a sudden they're like, I'm going to make it my mission to be their friend. Are you one of those type of people that does that 100%. Often? Really?
100%. My mom told me stories from her childhood where she was bullied all the time. So if I see somebody that is just that like awkward person that doesn't really have any friends and doesn't understand social cues, I'm going to be their friend. I'm going to be their best friend. They're going to fucking love me because you know what? They're the ones that need it.
Definitely. That's an awesome story. So you were a bartender for 7 years, and hey, that's what the nose that was poking up. What's that dog's name?
This one's Marley.
Hey, cute
she's
dog.
9, old baby, but she's my suck. She's basically my leech.
Just hanging on you at all times.
All the time. Okay, you're fine. Lay down then. She just doesn't know what to do with her life.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But you were a bartender for 7 years. So did you move around various different bars? How many places did you work?
Oh, I worked at a total of 6.
Mm-hmm.
I usually averaged out about a year at each place. I'm a very domineering personality. I'm aware of it.
I actually kind of took that from your TikTok.
And I'm okay with that. I'm happy to be a domineering personality, but as such, I will always demand what I deserve. So if I've been there a year and you have an opportunity for growth and you don't even consider me, I'm out.
No,
because you don't value me.
Right. I've had that attitude about various jobs. Well, not so much when I was bartending. I kind of knew my place when I was bartending because I didn't want to go to a manager because I didn't think managers made as much as the bartenders because since they're salaried. But I've had various jobs since being a bartender where I'm like, okay, I'm stagnant. What are we going to do so I don't feel stagnant anymore? And what? Nothing? Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not happy in what you're doing, then there's no point in doing it. Because, I don't want to be the person that wakes up in the morning hating to go to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's not how I want to live my life.
All right.
No, thank you.
But have you ever run into a conflict at work where, while you were a bartender, not your most recent job, where you were like, ugh, got to deal with that again?
Honestly, it's usually with regulars, or there was this, actually, my most shitty trainee. She was awful, and the fact that I had to deal with her.
Now, you've just recently started talking about that on TikTok, I think.
Yeah, she was so bad. For a girl that has "fuck y'all" tattooed on her knuckles, you'd think she'd had a backbone. But no, she was spineless, and she was a thief, and she was disrespectful, and I genuinely don't usually wish bad things on people, but I wish her karma.
Karma's not necessarily wishing bad, but not wishing good, so
it's exactly what you deserve. So,
so she actually had "fuck y'all" tattooed on her knuckles.
Literally, fuck y'all.
Okay.
She's so classy.
It wasn't jailhouse tattoos. She actually had that done.
It looked like it. Oh my God. She was telling me about how she got it done in her friends. We've all got one of those tattoos. If you're a tattooer, I have one that was tattooed in my friend's kitchen as well. I get that. But like mine's on the back of my neck. I can hide it. And I only got one. She was covered in shitty friends practicing tattooing on you. You do you, boo boo. But she wasn't even 20 at that time. She was a baby, and I'm like, you have the world's most shitty tattoos, and you have to live with that for the rest of your fucking life. But there's a lot of that left.
Yeah, when you do the your friends practicing tattoos, like I'm not a tattoo guy. I can't think of anything that I could put on my body that I wouldn't get sick of eventually.
That's fair.
But because I've had the idea, tattoo the Beatles on here somewhere, or Metallica, or put Star Trek, really goofy ideas. But then I sit back and think, God, I would get really sick of that after a little while, and so I can't think of anything. But yeah, I've overheard stories tons of times where people get like tattoos on their knuckles, for example, where their friend uses a guitar string and they end up getting like hepatitis or something like that. It's really dangerous to do that.
It's so dangerous, but people, especially, I can't really say anything. Most of the piercings that I have, not anymore, but most of them when I was younger, I had done myself with a leather needle and like some true grit. But that's different than a tattoo, Young people are crazy. Yeah. I used to be that crazy person. I'm still a little crazy.
Well, we all are in our own various ways. That's what makes life fun,
Exactly. I couldn't imagine being normal.
What's normal, really?
Boring. A leaf fell, so she's, oh my God.
Oh, one of those dogs. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, I just snap at her and she's fine. Snap. Kind of like at bartending. That was one thing that drove me fucking crazy. Like, if somebody comes up to the bar and like, this is for any of the listeners, you come up to the bar and you want to tap, step, hey.
Yeah.
That is a surefire way for me to fucking lose my shit on you. I'm not a dog. Don't snap at me. And if you're at the bar, I will get to you at your turn because I pay attention. You can wait.
The whistling, the snapping, the guy with the ring on his finger hitting his pounder glass, or the guy that wants another beer and rattles it on the table. Yeah.
Ooh.
How often does that set you off?
Every time.
Every 100%?
Every time. That is a surefire way. And I'm usually respectful the first time. I'll give you the death stare. Like I'll stare at you until you stop and go, okay, I'll be with you in a minute. And then go off and deal with literally everybody else and then come back and be like, okay, so Marley, enough. And come back and explain. So why do you think that was inappropriate? Why do you think that wasn't okay? Because I have no problem confronting people. You want to be a dick? Come at me.
Oh, I've thrown people out. One person decided they thought it was a good idea to get my attention by throwing a coaster at me, and they because they were completely out of my line of sight, and they decided, well, I'm not going to him, so throw the coaster. Yeah, they left quickly.
Ooh. Yeah. You know, I've had people throw things out. It's usually glass, though. I don't know why. People get and it's usually when you cut them off. Oh, fuck you, bitch. You can't cut me off. Hurl my cup at you. Yeah. I'm sober, so I'm a lot more fast. Though.
Well, yeah. So now that you brought that up, what's your favorite cutoff story?
Ooh. Okay. So this one is actually, it's a dual VLT, the video lottery machine, and then drinking. So I had this one customer, he was a regular. He come in all the fucking time, but he had a tendency to, on payday, spend way too much on the VLTs thinking he's going to win big. He never fucking won big. You never win big. You are a lucky son of a bitch if you win a third of the time.
Right.
So he's sitting there and I'm bringing him his beer. He's getting pretty drunk. So I'm like, hey, like, can I bring you a glass of water? Like, I just want to switch it up. Just this one, have this whole big glass of water, and then I will bring you another beer. And he agrees at first, so he goes. And then as I come back, I leave, do my round, come back with a beer for him. And I see him, he's like, oh, it's empty. But I look on the ground, and he just dumped the fucking water on the ground. He thinks I'm blind. I'm not going to see a giant puddle underneath him.
Yeah.
Like, well, at least try and hide it somewhere. Be a little more creative. He didn't want to get off the stool. So I was like, so you didn't drink the water. So at this point, I'm not going to serve you anymore tonight. I think you've had enough. Like, I'm sorry, but that's how it's going to be. He goes, oh, well, fuck you too, Ashley. Go fuck yourself. I'm like, I do it best. So then I walk away. And, so a couple minutes later, I hear him yelling. So I come back and I'm like, bud, like, what's going on? He's like, I can't get any more fucking beer in this place. And this fucking machine just took all my money. I'm like, this is literally what happened last week. Buddy, this happens every week. When are you going to learn you're not a lucky person? You need to stop playing the VLTs. I'm now cutting you off of the VLTs. You can't do that. And then he punched the VLT. Thankfully, he didn't break anything except for his knuckle. He broke his knuckle. He's like, and then he's like, fuck, now I gotta go to the fucking hospital. Call me an ambulance. I'm just like, okay, I'll call you an ambulance. I get some ice. I wrap his hand. He's like, you're such a dick, but thank you for wrapping my hand. I'm like, no problem, buddy. All good. And then he gets into, so as he's going out into the ambulance, he's like, I'm never coming back. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Sure shit. Guess who was there the next day? Hey, Ashley, I'm really sorry. That's okay, buddy. How's your hand? I'm really high on my meds right now. That makes sense. You're also not going to get any beer.
Yeah. He's got to get a little bit more punishment than just a hand that hurts.
Right? Yeah, but he didn't hit me. So, I mean,
that's a plus.
Cool. That is a plus. Too many. I am honestly more afraid of women in the bar than I am men. 100%.
Really?
Men are way less likely to hit me, even if I get in their face.
Well,
way less. They're more like, you're a small asshole. I am, but you're still getting out.
Now,
I don't care.
I've maintained many times that female bartenders are able to break up a fight way faster than a male bartender, because like if I were to jump out in the middle of a fight, I'm no longer the bartender, I'm a contender. And but if my good friend Shannon were to go out and she were to break up the fight, they would stop immediately. And you know, one guy would be still ready to fight, you know, just wait till they get out into the parking lot, and the other guy would get this face like going, I just fucked up. But Yeah, I'm been a strong contender that women can break up fights, but I've never seen in any of the bars that I've worked at where women got into a fight, just a shouting match. But
Oh, cat fights are so much fun.
no,
Cat fights.
I went to a Catholic high school that where the females outnumbered the males by I think it was like 12-1. And some people would probably think, "Wow, that 12 girls to one guy, that must have been awesome." No, it sucked.
No, women are catty. Women are gossipy assholes, and especially teenage girls. Like, ugh.
I had one girl in high school actually say in front of the whole, well, they were making a stupid decision about making only allowing people that went to our specific school to go to semi-formal or prom or one of those things. And one of the girls said, "But all the guys here are geeks." And I said, "That's hurtful, but she's not wrong."
I mean, fair. Call a spade, but fuck you too.
But I saw plenty of cat fights when I was going to high school. But in the bar situation, I saw instances where a girl would instigate it and then send her boyfriend in. And
yeah,
that was
hated that.
Yeah, that was fun.
I hate that. Like, why? Why do these girls, if you want to pick a fight with somebody, pick a fight with somebody. I was at the bar prior to our most recent bullshit shutdown. I was at the bar with my boyfriend, and actually we were sitting there. One of my good friends is still a bartender and a waitress, and she was serving us. So she was coming out to bring us our drinks, and she had a really, really, I want to say, how do you say it? No, they were fucking demanding. They were assholes. Mm-hmm. They're like, "Give me this. I want this. As it's coming out of my mouth, it needs to be in front of me." Like, fuck your hat. But so she's very focused on this table. They're very prissy and needing everything. That's fair. I don't care. I'm good. Like, I love you. Do you, boo boo? They go out for a smoke. I'm sitting at the table. My boyfriend comes back and he's just like, "I think I'm gonna get beat up." And I've had a couple of drinks. I'm already a scrappy person, but I'm like, well, why? So my girl goes out while he's smoking and confronts these guys at this other table. And it's like, "Excuse me, but like, was there something wrong with the service? Were you unhappy? Like, is there something I did wrong?" And they were like, "No, why?" And she's like, "Well, it was a $500 bill and you left me $10.
Uh-huh.
What?
$10 tip on a $500
fucking dollars on that doesn't even cover her tip out. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, that's disgusting. So, and my boyfriend, being the amazing human that he is, confronted them and was like, "Well, you guys know that," because as soon as she goes back in after calling him out for their shitty tip, they're like, "Oh, she's just a fucking money hungry bitch." And he's like, "No, you guys know that was a shitty fucking tip." And then he comes in, and that's when he sees me. So he tells me the story. Now I'm lit. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to flip some fucking tables. And I've had a few drinks, so like that's always a scary thing. So then this guy comes up, starts walking towards my boyfriend. My boyfriend is 6'3", okay? Mm-hmm. He's a big dude. I am 5'4". I'm not a big girl. But this dude was probably looking eye to eye to my boyfriend, and he's like, "My girlfriend paid for that tab." And my boyfriend's like, "That's the first problem." And I step in between. "You want to fucking go? Like, you're a piece of shit." So then as I'm cashing out, our tab was, I think, like $75, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so I tipped her $75.
$100, 100% tip. Nice.
100% tip, because you know what? She shouldn't have to fucking pay to work. Mm-hmm. So I tipped her. She starts crying, and then she goes and doing her own thing. And on my way out, just to emasculate that guy just a little bit more, I said, "Don't worry, baby. I covered your tip." And left. Okay.
Just to give Ashley a little bit of a break from that very intense story, I just want to remind you about www.heybartenderpodcast.com. It's my website. It's the website for this podcast, and it's kind of cool. I kind of like it. Developed it myself. Yeah, kind of proud of it. You can go there, check out the Hey Bartender podcast episodes, new and past episodes, and you can check out some of the Hey Bartender podcast merch. I got t-shirts, I got stickers, just usual stuff like that. So go check it out. Next up, we got our musical guest for this episode. From their album Coming In Hot, this is Divide the Day with their song Faded.
Shout out to the girl with the tattoos. This one's on me. A one shot for the guy who's an asshole. It's cool. This one's on me. To all the girls making out in the bathroom. Hey. This one's on me. Hey. This one's on me. Yeah, yeah. Living life, loving these nights with the red up in my eyes. Raise a drink to a good time, getting trash tonight. Let's get crazy. I feel amazing. Tonight I'll be famous from getting wasted. Let's get faded, 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 faded. Throw another one back, it's getting heavy. That's what we do. 'Cause I'ma shut the bar down if you let me. 'Cause that's what we do. Another round for my boys, y'all ready? That's what we do. Me and my crew. Hey, hey, yeah. Living life, loving these nights with the red up in my eyes. Oh, raise a glass to a good time, getting trash tonight. Let's get crazy. I feel amazing. Tonight I'll be famous from getting wasted. Let's get faded, 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 Hey, yeah. Living life, loving these nights with the red up in my eyes. Oh, raise a glass to a good time, getting trash tonight. Let's get crazy. I feel amazing. Tonight I'll be famous from getting wasted. Let's get faded, 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 faded. Throw another one back, it's getting heavy. That's what we do. Another round for my boys, y'all ready? That's what we do. Me and my crew.
Coming from California, that was Divide the Day with their single Faded. If you want to find out more about Divide the Day, head on over to bandcamp.com, search them out. They got a bunch of music out there ready for you to listen to and enjoy. I go to Bandcamp all the time to look for all these independent artists to bring on the show. This isn't an advertisement. It's actually a really great place to go to find music to and help promote the independent music industry, because that's what I'm all about. Because there's a lot of music out there that doesn't get any promotion just because, one, they can't afford it, or some certain radio stations only play certain artists at certain times, or all day long, really. So I'm all about the independent artists. So if you want to be a part of Hey Bartender Podcast and you have a song that you'd like to be put out there, all you have to do is email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com. Now, let's get back and finish up the interview with Ashley. So, tipping is as important in Canada as it is here in the United States, then. because I had an interview with a guy from England, and tipping isn't done there at all.
Nope,
But,
because they pay a livable wage.
right, exactly. And but here in the United States, and I guess where you are in Canada, where tipping has become part, it's not just a well, back when tipping first started, it was just to ensure prompt service. That's the literal dictionary.
It was a gratuity.
Yeah.
It was gratitude for good service.
Right.
And now it is supplement for people's income.
Yeah, we kind of need it.
You do.
And
Yeah.
so it is the same thing up there.
100%.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I've actually received emails, and mostly people from Europe, that say that they have livable wages, they have medical benefits, they have things like that. And I'm just like, we don't have that here.
We need to take some pages out of those books.
Yeah.
Just, and you know what? Everyone's like, oh, well, would you be fine paying $10 a drink and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? The fact that we have to pay somebody's living wage when they're already working, we already have to supplement their income. And it's not even just it's not a gratuity anymore. It's a need. If somebody doesn't tip, that person can't pay their bills. That person can't buy their fucking groceries. And then on top of it, there's the tip out. I don't know if you guys have that in the States.
In certain restaurants, but please explain it.
In every restaurant, every place in Canada, you have a percentage of your sales goes to a tip out for the rest. So for example, for your cooks in the back who already get a livable wage, by the way. For your bus boys, okay, so their minimum wage, yeah, okay, you want to give them a little bit, that I get. In some places, management. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you pay management to fucking work. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's so wrong. But so usually it's about anywhere between 5 and 10% of your sales, not of your tips. So if somebody doesn't tip, let's say you have a $100 bill, 10% of that $100 bill, you're going to be tipping out. So if you don't get a tip, that comes out of your pocket.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
That sucks. Yeah, really bad.
Yeah. It's not okay.
10% of your sales, that can be harsh. I mean, you do, I don't know, say $500 in sales that night, but you won't, an average tip of that 20%, that $100. But that's assuming that everybody tipped you 20%. Some people tip 10 or 15 or less.
Yep.
That can really end up hurting by the end of the night. Do you ever go in the negative?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I have on several occasions. Literally doing my tip out, doing my cash out. I give them money for all of the food that came out. That's fine. All of the blah, blah, blah. And I end up having to go into my bank account to pay at the end of the night.
Oh, that's got to be a horrible night then. Where
It's awful.
you go home and you're just, now that gives you the right to say it's been a bad day.
Yes.
I mean,
when you literally have to pay to go to work, yeah, it's a shitty fucking day.
I mean, there's been nights that I can think of where one guy tried to pick a fight with another guy in the bar, and then he basically bitch slapped me and then tried to get me to punch him back. I didn't, but that would be a bad night. But I also made like 35% versus my sales and tips. So I was, yeah, I got hit, but look how much money I got. I'm happy,
Yeah. And you get more good nights than you do those nights. So I will say that there are definitely better nights than, and for a long time, the minimum wage in Canada, I mean, it only changed after I stopped being a bartender, but the minimum wage in Canada was different than the minimum wage for servers.
Right.
There was a huge gap, and that's fucking ridiculous. That's so stupid. Like, I can tip my Starbucks barista. That's fine. It's not going to affect her livable income.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, here, all the jobs that I ever worked, though, there was a wage difference between servers and bartenders, but the bartenders got paid a couple extra bucks because typically when I showed up for the night shift, the manager would say, okay, I'm out of here. And then all of a sudden I'm in charge, have to make all the hard decisions and all that stuff. So they gave the bartenders a couple extra bucks just because we're technically the manager at that point. So was that kind of the same thing, or bartenders got paid less than server wages?
Same across.
Oh,
Everybody got the same.
okay.
Everybody got the server minimum wage, which when I started serving was $8.10, and the minimum wage for everybody else was $9.25, and then the minimum wage got bumped up to $10.11. Woohoo! Stayed the same for us.
Yeah.
Didn't change. That's fine.
But
That's cool.
it's not the same thing all over the United States, because I've talked to other bartenders that like work in like say New York, and they either get paid $2 an hour, which is at current the federal minimum wage, or they don't get paid hourly at all. They work strictly for their tips.
Oh, my heart goes out to those ones.
Yeah.
It really does, because that, and especially with, you know, the recessions and people struggling already to make their bills, they're less likely to tip you. And realistically, we should not be forcing the general public to pay our livable wage. It should be coming from our employers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're our employers. So to whatever states are doing that to their servers, they should be fucking ashamed of themselves, because that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Our current president right now is talking about that he wants to raise the federal minimum wage quite a bit. But I can see advantages and disadvantages to that, just because sure, he's going to raise the minimum wage, but that'll also raise the cost of living, and there's going to be a weird teeter-totter thing going.
Yeah. So we actually had that happen here in Alberta not long ago. Well, I guess like 4 years ago, something like that, where they raised the minimum wage for everybody across the board to $15 an hour, because they're like, that's a livable wage. And yeah, the biggest thing is everyone's like, oh, well, the cost of living is going to go up. It did a little bit, but not to the extreme that you think. Like, I was totally expecting, oh my God, I'm going to have to pay $8 a jug of milk.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It went from $3 to $4. Okay.
Okay. Because I was thinking exactly what you just said when our president announced that. I was like, pay $12 for a jar of peanut butter, and I'm like, I love peanut butter. Don't do that to me.
Oh, me too. I feel you.
But
yeah, it's not as bad as, at least here. I can't speak for the States, but here it was not nearly as bad as everybody thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And now people can actually afford to. They don't have to make the hard decision. Do I pay my bills or do I buy food?
Right.
So I'll pay a little extra. That's fine. If everybody can survive, I'm cool with that.
Mm. So, you mentioned you mentioned the pandemic. What was the pandemic like in Canada? I mean, what did they shut down everything up there just like they did down here? Or?
We're still shut down.
We're still shut down.
We're going into another shutdown. So, so the way that it's been back and forth. It's like, the problem is we keep taking half measures. So if we actually did like a 4-week lockdown where like bare minimum, essential only, went to work and everybody else just stayed home for 4 weeks, we'd be fine. But no, now we've got anti-mask rallies. We've got churches with like 200 people because God's going to save us.
Uh-huh. Now I'm starting to wish my podcast was video, because you're so animated. I think people would enjoy watching you, but unfortunately, it's only audio. But please go on.
I appreciate that. It's just, I mean, they can watch my TikToks and I'm exactly the same way.
Very true. Very true.
But yeah, it's been fucking hell, honestly. And the worst part for me was when they shut down the dog parks.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was I'm already an antisocial person. I have a very high stress job now. I thought I was stressful doing bartending. No. That is a drop in the bucket comparing to dealing with people experiencing homelessness. So when they shut down the dog park, my one outlet, I felt like I was losing everything. My mental health went down. Mental health is going down in Canada. There's high suicides, high domestic violence. It's insanity. And now we're just, what was it? May 9th, we went into another shutdown where all businesses that are non-essential. So bars, restaurants, we don't have movie theaters. We haven't had movie theaters in probably a year. It's all gone away for however many weeks that they decide. I've had my tattoo appointment canceled and rescheduled like 6 times, and I'm really pissed off about it.
Yeah, I miss going. Well, only kind of miss going to the movie theater because I like watching movies, but I've been mentioning on my podcast as of recently that I keep wondering. Because I don't really have any scientific method in order to figure this out, but these people that go to the restaurant every night, go to the bar every night, I've kind of taken over a hashtag on Instagram and Facebook, hashtag this is a real job, because bartenders, servers, we always get that question. Why don't you get a real job?
Get a real job. Fuck your hat.
Yeah.
Like, suck my dick.
Yeah.
I hate that so much. Like, oh, you think that... Okay, so I got a story for you.
Okay.
There was a guy who came into the bar, and I was working a day shift, which was very irregular for me, but I was covering for somebody else because I was a fast server, so you want me on the nights, right? So I'm doing my day shift, and I'm wearing runners. And this guy, there's like 5 or 6 people in the bar. He's like, hey, why don't you wear heels to work? And I'm like, because they hurt my fucking feet. Like, that's a stupid question. And he's like, oh, well, if you wore heels to work, you'd probably make a lot more money. It's a lot more attractive. Okay. Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure my tips would be affected in a negative way because I wouldn't be walking as fast. My feet would hurt. I'd be uncomfortable. I'd be even more bitchy, which I don't know how that's possible, but I would be. And he's just like, he goes, well, honey, let me tell you about working like a man. Oh. No. I immediately shut him down. I was like, no, like, we're going to stop right there. I've worked 12 hours in steel-toed boots. I've been a scaffolder. I have broke my back and busted my feet at work. And if you want to sit here and have a dick measuring contest, whip it out and mine will still be bigger. He didn't like that. So
yeah.
He left very quickly. I wonder why.
You have these awesome stories. Did you ever live in fear that you're gonna the next day your manager say, I need to talk to you in the office for a second?
They talked to me so many times. It's not even a fear. I expect it. I literally expect it. Like, oh, Ashley, we have to talk. Okay, which one complained? Because there's multiple that could have been. But that's why I liked working in the small pubs, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't have working in clubs. You had bouncers, you had the bussers, you had all of these extra people helping, which is great. But when something goes down and you need to handle your shit, if you aren't in good with the bouncers, they're not going to back you.
Right.
If you're not in good with the management, they're not going to back you. Whereas like working in a small pub where you are the waitress, you're the bartender, you're the bouncer, you're the busser, you're everything. I prefer it. I really did. Because if somebody crosses me, get the fuck out of my bar. You think I'm going to serve you? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
I'll throw ice at you. I'll spray you down with water. I don't give a shit. Like, I have literally sat there and thrown ice at a person, just like throwing it at them. Not rude, not like aggressively, just like trying to get it down their shirt to annoy them. I'm not serving you, so I got to find some sort of entertainment. You're here.
Yeah. I've never gone that far. I've threatened to spray people with the water gun, but I've never. I did spray it out when the bar was packed one night. I just decided to do a couple quick squirts, and one guy threatened to sue me because his shirt got.
I got wet.
Yeah.
What do I do? I'm sugar. I'm melting. No, You're salt because fuck you.
Yeah. he said, I should make you pay for the dry cleaning for this shirt. And I said, what's wrong with your shirt? And he said, it got wet. And by the time he's done yelling at me, I'm like, where? And he trying to look for something somewhere on his shirt. And
Yeah, good luck.
I mean, it
Where's
dried.
your proof? You gotta have proof, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You're drunk. I'm sober. What's up?
yeah, and truthfully, spraying out into the crowded room, that was probably the wrong thing to do. But I was bored.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do? I've done it several times. I have legit sprayed somebody in the face with Pepsi, though.
I've
They
only
deserve it.
threatened to do that because the guy said something extremely inappropriate about a friend of mine, and I was about to say one more thing. Just come on, say it. But eventually I said, no, I got to go cool down. I'm going to be out back smoking. All right.
That's fair. No, I probably should have just threatened, but he was being super, super racist to one of my other customers who's indigenous. And I meant to hit the water button, but he got it with a Pepsi. And I didn't feel bad. So I sprayed him and he's just like, what the fuck? And I was like, you're going to act like a dog. I'm going to treat you like a dog. Keep going. I'll spray you again. I got two. You want double? Let's do this. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to tip you. I'm not getting your $5 fucking dollars. Oh, I'm so sad. Fuck off.
That guy, karma hit him. I like to think it probably wasn't karma, but I like to think karma hit him because he was a plumber during the day. And I guess he was unclogging something and then all the waste smacked him right in the face. And so there were jokes for days about that. And, like my friend Barb, she was like, would walk up to him, look at him right in the eye. So you got shit-faced this morning, or, just every plumber joke that you can think of. But I was just like, yeah, he deserved that.
That's too funny. I love it. I love karma. That's why I have a dog named Karma. Like karma's, you get what you deserve. So what you put out is what you get back. That's why even though I'm a salty asshole, I am also going to stand up for people.
Right.
Like if you want to be a dick, that's fine. But if you're a dick in front of me, I'm gonna make you regret it.
But
That's all.
But when you probably have moments like I do where I realize that I'm being a jerk to somebody, and then all of a sudden something bad happens to me, and then I just kind of step back and go, yeah, I deserved that.
Yeah, definitely honestly happens more with this job than with the other, because typically I would have to say that when people are intoxicated 96% of the time I am right.
Yeah.
Like
right.
I am right, because they are crossing some serious fucking lines. Like having a bottle pitched at my head, like an empty beer bottle.
Okay, yeah.
So many. I got one in the back of the head the one time. I've also gotten a bar stool in the back of the head.
Ow. Okay.
Oh, buddy was fighting with this other dude, and I was just walking past. That was it. I didn't even interact with them, and all of a sudden I get smashed with a fucking bar stool, end up ass over tea kettle on the ground, looking up dazed and confused, like, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck?
I've heard too many stories of bartenders, servers that were just holding their tray, walking by, and then all of a sudden, thunk, they get hit by a punch they didn't see coming because it wasn't supposed to be at them.
Yeah.
But,
because if you're not anticipating it, you're paying attention to this.
Right. You get tunnel vision when you're walking around the bar.
You're looking for empty drinks. You're looking for partially empty drinks. Unless you hear a loud commotion, that's when your eyes go that way. But otherwise, yeah, no, you're not anticipating it. You're not ready.
Right.
And of it.
And not all of us take martial arts or practice Muay Thai or anything like that.
Agreed. Although I will say that I've taken so many self-defense courses over the years that I was in foster care that I feel pretty strong. Like I feel like I could do shit.
Yeah.
I could do something.
Well, that's good for you. Yeah. So, yeah, but do you have to be drunk in order to be called a drunken boxer? Never mind about that.
I like it.
Or if you're drunk and you throw a punch, are you a drunken boxer?
I feel like if you're drunk and throwing a punch, as long as it lands, then you're a drunken boxer. Because otherwise, you're just an idiot flailing.
So, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you're doing nowadays? You said you haven't been bartending for a while. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I run a program that helps to assist people who are experiencing chronic homelessness into housing so that they can gain supports in order to stabilize and become better in society.
Oh, okay. So it's you have like classes, or you just provide a
No, it's service more. So basically, I'll talk about the I run a team, and that team will find somebody who's experiencing homelessness, find them housing, so just a regular old apartment, help subsidize their rent, and then we access services. So whether it's mental health, addiction, physical health supports, maybe they just need some socialization, maybe they just need to learn how to clean a fucking toilet. The amount of people that don't know how to clean fucking toilets is stupid. I mean, I will be honest, my bartending experience probably helped me a lot with my patience. Because a lot of the clients that we deal with now struggle with addiction, right?
Of course,
struggle with. So, I often say I'm very fluent in drunkenese. You could have anybody talking any kind of nonsense, and I'm like, okay, oh, you need to go to the bathroom. You should probably do that. Like, you need toilet paper? Let me go buy you some.
So, what made you
stuff
start
like
this
that.
job?
Pardon me?
What made you start this job?
I've experienced homelessness in my lifetime, so I honestly started off after I was still bartending, and I went to school for addiction and community service. And because I was a foster kid, I was like, I need to work with foster children. That is my calling. It's not. I don't like kids. So
Once again,
Okay.
another one of those great animated moments I wish my listeners could have seen.
Well, and then from there, I worked in group homes for just about a year. And then I just started peppering. I experienced a lot of really not okay things working in the group homes. And I was like, you know what? I got to get the hell out of here because I can't do this. And I just started splaying my resume out. Like, I got an interview at my current place of work, and I didn't even know what I had applied for. And
Yeah.
I was like, cool, let me do it. So I get there and they're like, oh, so do you know the job you're applying for? No, I don't. Please explain it to me. So I started off as follow-up support. So that's that person that goes in for about a year and goes and supports a client and gaining supports that they need in order to be sustainable and independent. And I really fucking loved it. I loved it. It was so good.
So,
And then they got management.
they offered you management. That's cool. How is being able to do that job with the pandemic? You just wearing a mask around your clients, or?
Yeah, we wear a mask and we don't transport people, so you have to use public transit or walk. It's definitely more challenging. I think the first 6 months of the pandemic was the most challenging part because everyone was terrified. And then after that, I think many of us who work in this field are just like, look, if I get it, I get it. It is what it is. I'm more worried about my clients than I am about myself. Like, it's a really bad fucking flu for me because I don't have extenuating issues with my immune system, right? But a lot of our clients do.
Yeah.
Sleeping rough causes a lot of really fucked up things on your body.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting there. We're figuring it out one day at a time.
Well, that's really awesome that's going on. When the pandemic hit in my hometown, I'm originally from Portland, Oregon. I live in Texas right now, but back home in Oregon, they've got homeless people. When the pandemic hit, they got homeless people living all over the place. That everybody that could use help or whatever, and it's changed Portland because I've lived out here in Texas for 10 years, but when last time I went home at the beginning of the pandemic last year, I started looking around downtown Portland and I said, this is not the way I remember. And it's only been a few years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of heartbreaking to see it. And, but there is stuff out there for people to get help, obviously, at least in Canada.
In Canada, there's a lot more, I would say, than in the States. I don't know for sure. I will say that the program that I run right now actually originated from New York, which is amazing. Yeah, and it's great. It's awesome for people who are actually looking for help. But for those who aren't looking for help, I mean, there's still resources. There's still things that you can do. You just have to be willing to reach out and say, hey, I need help. And that's okay. If you need help, you need help. Everybody needs help.
Of course, at all times. And probably some of us bartenders, well, there are a lot of bartenders out there that probably need therapy every once in a while just because, well, would you say when you were bartending, you're sitting there, you listen to other people's problems and their problems start to pile up on you.
Yeah.
And you start, in my case, I started thinking they've got problems and I put my problems on the back burner because these people are actually having problems. But then all of a sudden the back burner is overflowing. And
Yeah.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah. So that's called secondary trauma.
Yeah.
So
I've
yeah.
heard that term.
100% as a bartender, especially with those people that like came in and you became really good friends with, that you genuinely gave a shit about. Because I mean, you have your customers, you care about your customers, but then you have your people, the ones that you like want to see on a day-to-day. Mine were usually like the senior citizens. I love my old people. They're great. They're fantastic. Everyone's like, oh, they don't tip. I don't care. I don't care. They've lived 3 times my lifetime. I don't give a shit. They don't need to tip me. They just come, hang out, teach me how to play crib. I love it. But yeah, you absolutely take on that secondary trauma because you have your people coming in and telling you all about the issues that they're having. Instead of going to a therapist, your server is now your therapist.
Right.
And they don't always have the best feedback. Usually It's like, it sucks. You want a shot?
Yeah. Well, it's been a long, very, very long-term tradition that the bartender is a therapist, unofficial therapist. So, yeah,
Underpaid.
yeah, extremely underpaid compared to real therapists. But yeah, after being a bartender for quite a while, you kind of forget about yourself every once in a while, and and before you got to get yourself some help before it's a little bit too late. And I only realized that a couple of years ago, and I started getting a little bit of help. And it's good to know that people like you are actually out there helping other people, but you're also taking care of yourself. And that's really awesome.
Self-care is so important. And honestly, it doesn't even matter what profession you're in. It's really important to just like at least once a day, do something that brings you joy in any capacity. It doesn't have to be huge. Like for me, it's walking my dogs at the park. I fucking love that. Love it. I get to cuddle all the other dogs. My dogs fuck off and annoy other people. And it's great. The puppies love it. So I will always be a huge advocate on self-care because you cannot help other people without helping yourself first.
Right. The customers that I used to, look forward to seeing every time I worked my shift were the rock and rollers. The people that still. Their mind might still be in the early 70s, late 60s somewhere. And we'd sit and talk about the Beatles, the Who, well, basically any rock and roll from the 60s to present. And but there was one guy, and I'm not just saying this because you're from Canada. I actually did. He and I were talking about current music, and I got him to be a fan of the Bare Naked Ladies. And,
love the Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh yeah. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to a Canadian. I actually do love the Bare Naked Ladies. They're a great band.
Yeah, it's okay. If you would have been like, oh, I love Bieber, I probably to end this conversation.
No, you won't catch me saying that.
Perfect. Then we can be.
But the rock and rollers, I'd sit and talk about rock and roll with them all night long. And unfortunately, one, I don't know where he is. Another one's passed away. So if I were to go back to bartending tomorrow, they wouldn't be there. And that's kind of a depressing thought. But
Right. I've been to more funerals for my patrons than I have for anybody else.
mm,
I've had more of, and I probably because my favorite people to hang out with were the older crowd. They had the best stories.
mm,
They really did. Like Glenn. Glenn is this guy. I don't even know if he's alive anymore, but he's the one that taught me how to play crib
yeah.
at the bar. And he would have two every day. He would come in. That was his daily walk. He would come in and have two OVs, which is a brand of beer. I don't know if you get there,
Doesn't sound
but
familiar.
he would have them warm.
Warm beer?
Yes, we kept a case of beer under the well for him because he didn't drink cold beer. It hurt his stomach.
Okay.
So he'd drink warm beer and he'd have his two warm beer and he would teach me how to play crib. And I'm a great crib player because of it. It actually helped me a lot in my current, well, when I was still frontline, because a lot of the people that I was working with, you know, had been through the prison system. And in the prison system, crib is a big game there. So for me to be able to break down barriers, throw a crib board, hey, let's play a game of crib. Hey, like, what's going on with your parents? Like, why are you smoking so much meth? You know, shit like that.
Very casual question. So why are you smoking so much meth?
So, you know, people in my profession, we have a really dark humor, and one of the dark jokes is it could have been meth.
Mm.
Like something bad happens, could have been meth.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
fuck.
so you're a big cribbage player. I was taught how to play cribbage when I was maybe 10 years old by my dad because he said it was my family's birthright that we learn how to play cribbage, you know. And so I can't find many people to play anymore, but
Right?
so
many people don't know. It's crazy.
But I did find some friends that in where we could play cribbage. We figured out that we don't need a board. We just need a piece of paper so we can count to 121. That's pretty much it.
100%.
You ever got the perfect hand though? 29?
Oh, I've never got a 21. I've played so many games.
Me neither.
No, I still think it's a fallacy. I don't think it'll ever happen. Well, especially now because I don't have anybody else to play crib with me.
Yeah.
Playing one-person crib is bullshit.
Yeah, it's well, when I've mentioned cribbage to people that are younger than me, I'm 44, and I'll mention it to somebody who's like in their 30s or something like that. They're like, "That's an old man's game," and I'm just, yeah, I want to slap them.
Come at me then. I'm 29, so I feel you. Like, I legit have nobody in my friend circle who knows how to play crib. So my boyfriend's kid, she's 8. She's not good at math, but I'm like, this could be a fun way for her to learn some math.
That game's a great way to learn math. Yeah.
You would have so much fun with me. So I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. And
He's also got ADHD though, so like attention span gone.
yeah. Do you play cutthroat or you just
Depends on who I'm playing with.
Oh, okay.
If I'm playing with a kid, no, I'm not cutthroat.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna steal your points. I'm not gonna no. I'll tell you your points. But if I'm playing with somebody, so I've also taught people how to play crib in the bar, and I told them I will teach you, but after 5 hands, if you don't start taking your points, I'll take your points.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think that's more than fair. So we'll play a couple of rounds, and I'm like, you forgot this, and then we get to round 5, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take these 6 points. Okay, I'm gonna take these, but I also I lead them on too, because I'll just stare at them and be like, are you sure? Like, that's how many points you have?
My dad and I do that too, where he'll count out his hand and then I'll just look at him and go, "Are you sure?" And then he forgets knobs or something like that.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, crib is just such a great game.
Especially with a new person where you made rules just like you just said, and all of a sudden you double skunk them because they forgot all of these points.
Right? Oh my god. Yeah. It's been many years since I've been bartending, but you know, I don't know about you, but my friends, whenever we have nights together with parties, it's been a hot minute, but whenever we have our party nights, I always end up being like the group bartender because they're like, hey, look at all this alcohol, make me fancy drinks. And I'm like, fucking got this.
Oh, most of the time, whenever I got together with my friends, it was just beer. I mean, maybe they'd have a bottle of Jaeger in the freezer or something like that. But there was one time where I did laugh my ass off, where somebody stood up and says, "Does anybody else want a beer?" And then 4 people raised their hand, and all of a sudden, her 10-year-old kid says, "I got it, mommy." Runs into the kitchen, pulls out 4 Coronas, cuts the lime, puts them in the bottles, and then brings them out to those 4 people. And I'm like, what have you been teaching this girl?
Oh my gosh. See, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm just a special type up here because I love having like an actual collection of liquor, so that if I have people come over, even if we're just hanging out and enjoying ourselves, oh, you want a glass of wine? Got it, I got you. You want like our scotch on the rocks? No problem. I want to be accommodating, but also might have a mild case of alcoholism.
Well,
But
yeah. And well, you're only an alcoholic if you go to class. So
exactly, and I don't go to classes. I don't have an attention span.
Well, we're coming up on the end of the podcast. You are absolutely awesome to talk to. I really appreciate you taking the time to being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me. This has been really great, and I so appreciate it. It's been a long day, so.
And you've also actually, I'm going to say it anyway, because I've been keeping my mouth shut the whole podcast, but you've also broken down a few things. The Canadian dialect, I haven't, maybe it came through 1 or 2 times where you said a word like out or something like that. But you're not saying anything like a boot or
A boot?
or a.
Yeah, we don't say a boot here.
Yeah.
Oh, around a boot.
And I got to mention the Bare Naked Ladies, and and I already know you have nothing to do with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
No. No, I love maple syrup though.
Oh.
That's a fact.
There you go.
That is a thing here in Canada. Our maple syrup is the shit.
Yeah. So I'm told. Some people have told me when I get close to the Canadian border to, grab some syrup or something like that, but I haven't been close to the Canadian border since I was in high school. So
send me your info and I'll send you some.
yeah,
Not
definitely.
even-
That sounds awesome. I'd love that. But since you're Canadian, I'm going to ask a Canadian question. You're behind the bar, it's late night, and then all of a sudden Ryan Reynolds walks in. What do you do?
I mean, before I fangirl like really hard. Okay, so for real, me and my boyfriend have each said that, like, I've told him flat out that if I have a chance to sleep with Ryan Reynolds, that's happening. He's like, if you don't do it, I will. So yeah, I would probably just collapse a little bit, get back up and be like, hi.
Well, I mentioned him because he's a proud Canadian. He mentions it quite a bit, but
Yeah,
just
him and Ryan Gosling.
yeah. Oh, okay. There's is another guy that's on your list of your.
No, I'm just
Oh, okay. So what do they call that? The not a cheat list. Like a hall pass. Or
your hall pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, your hall pass.
yeah. So Ryan Reynolds comes in. You lose it for a second.
Top of my list. Literally. He is hot and funny. Like, check. That's all I need.
And he's doing is I just want to know where the bathroom is.
I'll walk you. You want me to show you? I can direct you. I will also stand watch. I'll make sure nobody comes in your bubble.
It's okay. That's kind of an unfair question about Canadians, but I had to ask.
That's okay. I think it's a completely fair question because he is amazing. Ryan, if you see this, I love you.
I hope that would be cool if he was listening to this. but anyway, so thank you so much for being on the show. You're my first Canadian. You're very awesome. I love your TikToks because they're most of them. You have a lot of attitude on them, and that alone can be kind of funny. So, why don't you tell everybody how to where to find you on social media?
Yeah, so really the only social media platform that I have is my TikTok, which is the Canadian Ginger Girl. My direct messages are always open because I also do anonymous stories for people in case they want to share their experience in whatever situation that they've been in. So I've had everything from funny, it takes a village, because that's also something I do, is it takes a village stories where we just come together as a collective community to support each other with supporting in how we take care of our kids or just taking care of each other, as well as bartender stories. I have a lot of people who come on and share their stories about how they've experienced being dosed at bars and just spreading awareness about that and how easy it actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, if you want to reach out, I'm there. I'm always, it might take me a bit because I get a lot of messages, but I will get to you.
Well, people, it is last call for alcohol. So come on up to the bar because I'm not walking out there. It's scary out there. Thank you so much, Ashley, for being on the show. You were awesome. And, if any of you wants to be a part of Hey Bartender Podcast, all you have to do is email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com. Or if you just have a story that you want to have me read over the show, I'd love to do that too. Just remember, email me, dude@heybartenderpodcast.com, or you can DM me on Instagram @heybartenderpodcast or Facebook @heybartenderpodcast. I'm even on Twitter, but I really don't have a good of presence as most people do on Twitter because I'm up against people like Ashley or call me Chris. It's intimidating. But I am on there @heybartenderpodcast. Just drop me a line, and I'd love to hear from every single one of you that listens to this show. Also, remember to visit www.heybartenderpodcast.com. You can go there to listen to past episodes, current episodes, and pick up yourself a Hey Bartender Podcast t-shirt. Also, I'd like to thank Divide the Day for their single Faded. Remember, if you want to catch up on more of Divide the Day, you can find more of their music on bandcamp.com. They didn't have anything listed about their social media, but go hunt them down. I totally encourage you guys to do that. If you like what you heard, go find them because the quarantine's starting to lift everywhere, and pretty soon they're going to start wanting to do live shows. And if you like what you heard, it's got to sound even more awesome live. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind all of you that your job is very important. Bartenders, servers, cooks, bus boys, bus girls, every single one of you is important. And, anybody who tries to look at you in the eye and say, why don't you get a real job? You know what? It is a real job. You make money and you keep your family and yourself fed. You got a roof over your head. It is a real job. Don't let anybody tell you different. But also remember, Hey Bartender Podcast wishes all of you lots of love, lots of sex, lots of happiness, and don't take any shit from anyone. Good night.
What do you mean it's last call?